So, it's a privilege to say welcome to NTNU's very own TV studio. We are here today to talk about and to introduce and prepare the students that are going to join a joint course that is being taught between NTNU and West University of Timisoara. And to talk about that, we have 4 guests right now. It's Martin, Melina, Håkon and Mariana. Mariana and Melinda from Romania. Welcome.
Thank you.
So let's just, first of all, we can start with the courses. Because it is the most interesting is the joint course, but we are actually teaching 2 different courses and a joint course. And we can start with, maybe we can start with NTNU's Håkon. What is the name of that course?
It's Cultural Understanding for an International Work Life. That's the Norwegian course which sort of leads to this joint course.
Yeah.
That's our side of it.
Yeah, so that is the course that only NTNU students go to, right?
Yes, so that's basically for engineering students or actually any student at NTNU learning about dealing with cultural differences in their work life.
And what about the course in Timisoara?
In Timisoara, this course is offered by the social sciences perspective to all the students in the university, from physics to mathematics to social sciences to sports, arts, education, sciences, and in all over the university. The students are just at the start of their studies. There are undergraduate students in the 2nd year of their studies. And it's a complementary course which aim is to develop this transversal employability skills for the students.
Okay. And the NTNU course, Martin, it's the teachers are anthropologists, but the students, they are engineers.
Yes, so it's a fantastic combination of players there. Yeah, we have anthropology teachers. Sometimes we teach about things or places that we don't have first-hand information about. We haven't necessarily been into these places, and we actually teach also about stuff that we haven't been thinking too much about. And I think that is one of the key things about this, the way we teach this course, is that everything is quite fresh. It's fresh for the teachers. It's fresh for the students. So it gives us this newness, and it brings everybody aboard. Yeah.
And that course was taught for many years before we started the joint course as well. But now it's the 3rd time we have the joint course.
Yes, this year we have the 3rd group of students who will this course will bring together students from Norway and West University of Timisoara. And for our students, it's a great opportunity. It's the first course in our university. We don't have such a courses, such a joint course in online distance learning based on collaboration and developing communication skills and employability and so on.
Yeah. And so it's the 3rd time. So if you think back on the first time we did this, was it easy? Was it a lot of trouble, or what was the experience there?
Yes, it wasn't easy at all. It was a learning process, both for students and for teachers, for us too, because, for example, they have difficulty at the beginning of communication, lack of trust, especially from the Romanian students, or lack of courage in order to be part of a group. It's not an easy process. You can't put students together and say, you could work together and go on, you will succeed. They need some support, they need some relevant learning tasks in order to be involved and debate and find different solutions to social problems.
Yeah. And Melina, you talked about this both as cultural differences between Norway and Romania, but also in disciplines in engineering and right?
Yes, we see the students are forming teams which are also cross-disciplinary from different disciplines, and also
cross-cultural, because they have educational and cultural different backgrounds. So this was we think about this as an opportunity for also for internationalization at home for both side students, and also to develop this teamwork skills based on these differences of culture and educational background. This wasn't, of course, very easy. It was a cultural shock, even that they were at distance, and for us as teachers, we have to learn from the first two previous edition of the course. Many lessons in order to improve all the time the course and to facilitate for students relevant learning.
And Håkon, why do you think we started to do this? What was the idea? What for the students? I mean, what was the goal of having a joint course?
The idea was mainly, the whole course, at least from the Norwegian side, was designed as an exploration process where the students themselves would be given a sort of made-up assignment and having to invent all kinds of problems they'll have to deal with during the kind of solving their assignment. But by having this joint course, we actually provide for them real problems, real challenges, and they have to work with real issues. And so in a way, the first year when everything was extremely chaotic, that was in a way a learning process.
Yeah.
So we don't want it to go smooth, because it's precisely in solving the problems the students learn. But maybe the first year, which was in the midst of the Corona period, everything was closed down in Romania, and in Norway, students had barely got together to do something, and just making contact was so difficult. Finding the students, that was maybe. We try to find a kind of a sweet spot where the challenges are big but not enormous. But maybe this first year was a bit over the top, actually. But it was a great experience, and the students afterwards, they were happy.
Yeah.
They really learned something.
Yeah, they did. But for the students now that are preparing for this joint course, what should they expect? What will happen?
I think they should lower their expectations in terms of what to expect, but they should also be very enthusiastic and be in for a real treat in terms of a learning experience that they will not be able to have outside of this joint course, because it brings together so many different people and it concerns problem matters that are real. Mm-hmm. So being part of actually solving something that is actually real in and around this beautiful city of Timisoara, I think that adds value to this course.
Yes, because it is real problems that they are focusing on.
Yes.
Could you explain some of them?
The main idea from the beginning of the project, we tried to bring together the NGOs,
Yes.
The employers, in order to put university more closer to the labor market and the real world. And that's why we invited them in order to to present the reality, some reality from Romania, for example. We have social problems, we have Roma people, we have people with disabilities, and so on. And that person accepted to be filmed. We created short presentation film for these problems. And after that, they are part of our course. Students have the possibility to ask them if they have different problems or different questions. They could ask or write directly to that person, to that expert, in order to ask for advice or for resources and so on. So the course is a mix between teachers, students, and different specialists from the labor market, or NGOs, or something like this. And the project, you can see the project on the website of the project. On the website of the project, the students' project, they are based on resolving different social problems.
From the Norwegian perspective, Håkon, what did this bring to the students? To actually have the NGOs, the experts, to have the students from Romania that are social experts, and going on a course that was taught from both Romania and Norway. What gave the students?
I think one thing they got was a sense of urgency or reality that they weren't, they were dealing with the real world, and that's something in terms of the kind of issues they were addressing, but also the collaboration was, I think, much more difficult than they had anticipated, and the problems wasn't necessarily the problems you read about in the textbook. It's it's different kinds of problems. For example, you don't know when you have some, if your Romanian partner don't respond, is it because of the technology? Is there something with or link, or is it because they couldn't be bothered to do it? They're lazy, or is it because some cultural factor that we don't know about? From the perspective of the students, they have to be troubleshooters all the time and test all kinds of possibilities, and they don't know actually what's the problem until they reach the end.
And I guess also we didn't know what the problem was going to be before it happened. And Melinda, so if there is one thing the students should, think about, prepare for before, starting this joint course, what should that be?
Just to have low expectations.
Low expectations.
Yes, not to have a very certain, like a framework, like.
It's not a traditional course.
Yes, to be expected to a very attractive, very dynamic process, communication, interactions with foreign students, and to be open at all kind of possibilities they have, indeed, to put together also their skills, also their knowledge, to share experiences with their team members and with the teachers and with these local experts who are conciliating them, in order to develop a project-based task for these vulnerable groups of people who are confronted with problems when it comes to integrate, to find a job, or to keep a job.
Yeah.
So work integration problems related to topics.
Thanks. And we will get a bit more into that when we start talking about the research part of the project as well. And when we do that, we get 2 new guests, and we therefore are saying thanks to Martin and Mariana. And before we see the Tonje and Maria, we can see a video that is actually an exam in this joint course. So it's an exam in virtual reality, and it's pretty special. So let's take a look at that.
We have 2 different target groups. First is the general people of Timisoara who are attending the festival and people. And the second target group is people who can craft but out of work because of disability, ethnicity, or other obstacles. So the goal for this festival is to help the second target group to make their own workspace by letting them sell and share their talent or product at the festival. Food, clothes, music, everything is of work. So we are now going to take you through our journey with our teammates. Because of the new environment here in VR, many of us were more interested in playing with VR features rather than joining the discussion. We decided to do some more research on our own and maybe meet in Google Meets next time.
3 weeks into the project, we decided that we needed to finally agree on a project team. So to help with this and circumvent the space and time distances, we decided to make a digital poll, which could be answered whenever it best fit everyone. The projects were included in the poll were the ones which seemed most popular during our meetings. The poll proved to be a good solution, and we received clear opinions from everybody. The prison integration task was the top voted option, as you can see. So at the next meeting, however, at the next meeting, the Romanian student informed us that most of the other Romanian groups had chosen the prison task, which made us reconsider and choose the farming project instead. But after a discussion on the practicality of the farming project, we instead decided on altering the idea. How about a festival where immigrants and disabled people can sell food, products, sing, dance, and perform as a way to help them with pursuing their career in these fields. This would not only provide these people with opportunity, but attract local and tourist attention. Everybody liked this idea.
Yeah, okay, so the planning group found a place where the festival should be. Here we can see a picture of Victory Square, a known place for festivals. This is also a central place with many shops where people tend to be. Okay, so now we are in the Victory Square, as I said, which is a known place for festival. As you can see, there is many people who tend to be here and many shops. And the dates, 22nd of July to 24th of July, fitted perfectly since it's in the summer and no other festivals were booked. So here are the results from the marketing team. This poster to the left represents our idea and should be posted up in different public spaces as city malls, toilets, and train stations. We also made a marketing plan for social media. By making a giveaway contest at Instagram and Facebook, we then force people to show up at the festival if they want to know the results of the contest. So we have to recruit the vendors separately. The poster for recruitment isn't going to be posted around town. This is to make sure that we don't get applications from people outside our target group. The posters will go directly to the target group, for example, by collaborating with inclusivemobility.eu, which is a platform for students with disabilities in Europe, or maybe reaching out to Timisoara Acclimation Center for asylum seekers. We were given the opportunity to augment our collaboration using VR. This gave the most significant sense of closeness in the meetings, as most of your senses indicated that you were in the same room. Even though we can see and hear each other, the exciting VR environment offers distraction, which takes away from communication. VR meetings felt more like social gatherings.
Our task tracking and schedule sheets, as they claimed, were very helpful for them. We also were interested in their experience working among themselves, and as they explained, most of the work they did separately. However, they did have a few social meetings with each other, which were unrelated to work. So, about our experience. In hindsight, we're very satisfied with our collaboration. Even though things were tough in the beginning, they were promptly solved as the pressure of the deadline was approaching.
So that was an examination in virtual reality. And while you saw that movie, we have got two new guests. It's Maria and Tonje. And this VR exam, Tonje, that was from Timisoara, from the beautiful city of Timisoara. And you have just visited there, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Last year, the students had an exam in VR, as we saw, and when they presented the parts of their project from the social environment in Timisoara, they had a 360 picture from one of the city center squares and put their avatars inside of the exam recording and tried to put the other students that was watching the exam and the teachers in the context of what they were trying to explain and implement in Timisoara.
And you, Maria, you are actually doing a PhD studying VR in education, or what is it you're doing a PhD on?
The institution of education and the use of technology, and then I'm trying to look at VR kind of as a case study. So I'll be following this like transnational joint course this fall of 2022 in Norway, and then hopefully next year in Timisoara. Yeah. That's
going to be great. And so it's virtual reality, and it's a joint course, and it's different types of technologies and learning methods, etc. But it's, yeah, well, we talked about teaching over a distance before we saw the film, but it's actually about collaboration over a distance, right?
Yes, because the learning is in a way in the collaboration. And when we set up the stage for collaboration across the countries, we really follow up something we've been researching for a long time at our department, which is distant collaboration. And for the last 20 years, the technology has just changed and changed and changed, and with the technology, the idea of distance and presence have also changed in a way. Distance isn't the same as it used to be, and neither is present. So part of this is actually to take another step in figuring out what does it mean actually to be present with someone together across such a distance, and how do the technology come into play here.
And you're the project leader, actually, Melinda, of our research group and the collaboration. And what do you think is kind of the setup, the method? How are we doing research by also teaching a joint course?
Yes, the name of Classroom Laboratory, which was the initial name of the joint course, somehow tackled these issues about how to collaborate, to work together, and also in the same time we are also researchers or a research group, and also we are subjects of research, and the colleagues in the projects are the researchers, and the students are subjects of research. So in the first edition, we were so excited to measure, to find out reflections of the students, self-reflections of the students and of the teachers about this teamwork process. And we thought about team building activities, then about teamwork itself, and then how to have or reach performance teamwork activities, not only teamwork, but to get performance from it. Then we figure out that the reflective activities and practice, it's very needed to be aware of your self-position and self-roles you are taking in a team of research, of teachers or of students in this, how this reflective process and practice improve the learning relevance for students. And for us, what are the advantages and disadvantages to use in a virtual classroom at the instance collaboration and teaching this reflective practice. Yeah. This is the current. And I think in the future, the VR research questions like Maria's addressing us today it will be our interest or the main interest.
Great. And Tonje, you've been now you're a researcher, but you're also being a teaching assistant in this course, right?
Yeah.
And I have a feeling you're really looking forward now to be part of this course again.
Yeah, I started last semester as a teaching assistant in this course, and I was enrolled in the research practices right away, actually as a teaching assistant. And this semester I'm not a student anymore, working as a researcher, and I've been able to take part of developing and evaluating the research results from last year. And I think it's the lessons we learned from last year is the results and what we take in the new semester, not only in Norway, but also in Romania, I think. And as Melinda is saying, it is the reflections of the students, but also on the Norwegian side, the observations of the teaching assistants and the lecturers from the classroom situation, how students collaborate together, what are they sharing with us about their frustrations, motivations, and interest for working together with people across distance.
Yeah.
So it's
and one of the reasons, Håkon, the first round that we called it a laboratory is a bit the possibilities to set it up as experiments, right?
Yes.
Can you tell about that method and the research method that we used?
Yes, it seems to be a very efficient method actually for developing knowledge, because the course is repeating every year. So each year becomes like a circle of learning. We set up the course like an experiment, make some experiences and have some surprises and have some results, and then we figure out what happened, what have we learned, and how should we set up the course next year to take another step and another step. So it's kind of like a laboratory, but what is different in a way is that we never actually know what's going to happen. We deal with people and there are so many uncertainties that we really, that's why we like to use this, for example, the anthropological method where we just make research out of whatever happens actually, because we can't really predict it. But also we do other kinds of we use other methods also, but this kind of method focusing on serendipity and developing knowledge in an uncertain environment has been important.
And one of the things that we set up this semester then is this virtual reality. We have been using it before. This is the third time, but in a more structured way this time. And you are the responsible one here, Maria, right?
Yeah.
Can you tell us about what are we trying to do this semester, and what are we expecting?
I think we're still keeping with the setup from the previous year, where the students are encouraged to kind of find their own way using VR, and we want them to use it in collaboration with the people in Trondheim with the people in Romania, and using like social apps and games in VR or meeting rooms, but they're kind of encouraged to also kind of use it as they please, so that they can kind of explore the use of technology as well.
The use of technology and also collaborate in different ways through technology, right?
Yeah.
And you are also trying to, facilitate for the students to make some content, VR content as well.
They can choose to make like 360 models, and they can make like a 360 model of their room or their neighborhood, and then they can also put like 3D models in those other models, if that makes sense, and kind of showcase something from their studies in class as well. Yeah.
Great. But Melina, because VR often takes, the focus because it's a
Yes.
fun thing and it's a strange thing and we can show video, but it's not VR in itself. That's not, the main thing. The new name of the new research project is to bring reality.
Real life into the virtual classrooms.
Yeah, to bring real life into the virtual
Yes,
classrooms.
yes.
It's a very good title.
Yes, it's a sound.
Yeah.
It was proposed by Håkon. Yes, it means that the students, the joint teams of students are working of real cases of social problems in Romania and Timișoara, affecting this vulnerable category of people like persons with disabilities or former offenders or children or youngsters who left the institutionalized system and became adults with all the responsibility, but without a family. So they have to integrate on the labor market, not only to find a job, but to keep a job, to develop a social network that will sustain their social integration process further. So students from these teams are provided from the employers, from the NGOs, from the local social institutions in Romania, these kind of problems. They are described and so on. And then together they try to find a solution. But a real solution which will be assessed also by the local experts, not only by the teachers, and not only by a self-assessment reflective activity. So at the end of this project-based learning activities during the course, they have to explain and make an assignment of the solution they proposed. So it's a real life, to introduce the real life into the classroom from the beginning till the end of the project and the semester of learning.
And Håkon, real life, that means a lot of times that it comes real problems and unexpected problems.
Yes.
And unexpected situations. And one thing we should perhaps mention is this tendency that things don't always go as planned, and that the students should not worry too much if the plans are changed or things are not as expected, right?
That's right, and that's also our preparation for real life, because real life never goes as planned, or sometimes it does, but the skill in how to handle actually uncertainty is one of the skills that this course really sort of emphasizes, and which it's difficult to bring it into into the course in a systematic way because it's unpredictable. But that makes the research kind of interesting. Because there are, at the heart of the research area are questions like, how can we best prepare the students for life and for work life and life as such, and this is what we're trying to answer.
That's what we're trying to answer, and that's also what I think the students will, answer together, because it's the idea of being researchers and co-researchers as students is at the core here, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's the final word. So it's a joint course. It's new technologies. It's new methods. It's research projects. It's teaching from Romania, from Trondheim. That's I was thinking Norway because Romanian, and a lot of things that will, the student will face here. But I think it'll be fun, and I'm really looking forward to meet both the Norwegian and the Romanian students. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.